Welcome back to ABC General Hospital Spoilers channel. Today, we will dive deep into the explosive developments set for Monday, November 10, 2025, where alliances shatter, secrets unravel, and Port Charles teeters on the edge of chaos. Laura Collins' campaign in peril. Laura Collins, the steadfast mayor of Port Charles, encounters a devastating blow to her re-election bid that could redefine the city's political landscape. In a tense preview snippet, she convenes with her daughter Lulu Spencer in a dimly lit corner of the Metro Court, her face etched with worry as rain patters against the windows. Lulu, ever the sharp investigative reporter for The Invader, presses her mother on the escalating scandals threatening to bury the campaign under a wave of anonymous leaks about Laura's past dealings with the Casadini family. Laura confides that the upcoming town hall debate tonight might be the pivotal moment win it, and she solidifies her legacy as a champion against corruption. Lose it, and Port Charles could fall into the hands of opportunistic rivals backed by shadowy figures like the ever-elusive Victor Casadini's lingering influence. This setback isn't just procedural. It hints at deeper sabotage, possibly orchestrated by disgruntled council members who resent Laura's push for transparency in the waterfront redevelopment project, forcing her to rally unexpected support from old allies like Felicia Scorpio to expose the plot before votes are cast. Fans speculate this could lead to a dramatic onstage confrontation, where Laura unveils forged documents tying her opponents to illegal dealings, turning the tide in a heartbeat of high-stakes drama that echoes the show's storied history of political intrigue. Sonny and Jason's urgent powwow. Meanwhile, across town in the dimly lit backroom of Sonny Corinthos' warehouse, the mob kingpin reunites with his trusted enforcer Jason Morgan for a briefing that crackles with urgency and unspoken betrayals. Sonny, nursing a scotch and pacing like a caged lion, lays out the latest intel on the escalating turf war, with rival factions eyeing Port Charles docks for smuggling routes tied to international arms deals. Jason, his expression stoic yet calculating, absorbs the details about intercepted shipments and whispers of a mole within their ranks, possibly linked to the Jerome family's old vendettas resurfacing through Ava's unpredictable moves. But Jason doesn't hesitate, leaning in with that signature intensity to propose they launch a preemptive strike targeting a key warehouse on the outskirts before dawn, leveraging their network of informants to dismantle the threat while Carly's distractions keep law enforcement off balance. This meeting underscores the fragile balance Sonny maintains between his criminal empire and his attempts at legitimacy through legitimate businesses like the coffee shop. But Jason's bold suggestion risks igniting a full-blown gang war, potentially drawing in innocents like Dante Falconeri, who could be caught in the crossfire as an NYPD liaison. Viewers are buzzing about whether this duo's reunion signals a permanent thaw in their brotherhood or just another temporary alliance, with theories abound that Jason's hidden loyalties to the WSB might complicate the plan, leading to explosive fallout in episodes to come. Carly's daring disguised rendezvous, shifting gears to the high-security confines of a federal holding facility. Carly Corinthos steps into the shadows of deception as she orchestrates yet another clandestine visit to Valentine Casadini, her blonde locks hidden under a sleek black wig and her designer wardrobe swapped for a nondescript nurse's uniform that screams anonymity, armed not just with her wits, but with meticulously forged credentials courtesy of tech wizard Damian Spinelli, complete with holographic badges and encrypted access codes. Carly slips past guards who eye her suspiciously, but by the ruse hook, line, and sinker. Inside the sterile visitation room, separated by bulletproof glass, Carly leans close to the intercom, her voice a soothing blend of reassurance and steel as she promises Valentine that their intricate scheme involving offshore accounts and planted evidence will soon grant him full exoneration, sparing him from the cold bars of a lifetime sentence. She elaborates on the new layers they've added: Spinelli's hack into surveillance feeds to erase digital footprints, and a potential alliance with Anna Devane to flip a key witness, all hanging on Valentine's silence about Carly's own ties to Sonny's operations. This visit amplifies Carly's evolution from heartbroken ex to cunning strategist, but it teases darker consequences. What if her disguise unravels, exposing her to federal scrutiny and fracturing her fragile peace with Drew Quartermaine, who remains oblivious to her double life? In a show renowned for its twists, this encounter could pivot Valentine toward redemption or deeper villainy, perhaps even plotting a Casa Dini comeback that engulfs the Quartermaine mansion in fresh turmoil. Ava Jerem's seductive power play. In the opulent yet foreboding halls of a private Pentonville lounge repurposed for high-stakes negotiations, Ava Jerome unleashes her signature allure on the enigmatic Jen Sidwell, a villain whose piercing gaze and calculated demeanor make him a formidable adversary in Port Charles' underworld chess game. Dressed in a form-fitting crimson gown that accentuates her every curve, Ava saunters into the meeting with the confidence of a lioness, her eyes locking onto Sidwell's as she delivers a velvet-trap threat. In a husky whisper that sends shivers through the room, she warns that no corner of the globe will shield him from the consequences of crossing her territory, especially after his bold moves on the art world tied to her gallery's prized collections. Sidwell, initially guarded with his arms crossed and a smirk playing on his lips, finds himself captivated by Ava's blend of seduction and menace, nodding in rare approval as she outlines a tentative partnership involving black market artifact smuggling that could line their pockets with millions while undermining Sonny's coastal dominance. This impressive display not only secures Ava's position, but sparks speculation of a torrid romance brewing. Imagine Sidwell whisking her away to a secluded European villa, only for their passion to ignite jealous rifts with old flames like Nicola's Casadin's ghost haunting Windermere, pulling Ava back into the island's Gothic embrace with renewed vengeance. Yet, beneath the flirtation lies peril. Ava's sultry tactics might blind her to Sidwell's true agenda, a double cross involving the WSB that could leave her isolated and exposed, forcing a desperate alliance with unlikely kin like Kiki's memory to survive the fallout. As General Hospital masterfully weaves sensuality with suspense, this pairing promises to electrify screens, potentially reshaping Ava's arc from vengeful mother to empowered anti-heroine in ways that challenge her moral compass. Charlotte and Emma's cunning collaboration. Over at the bustling Casadini estate, young Charlotte Casadini channels her inherited cunning as she huddles with her confidant Emma Scorpio Drake, the two preteens sketching out an audacious strategy on a notepad stained with cookie crumbs and determination. With Valentine's imprisonment weighing heavy, Charlotte proposes infiltrating a rival family's gala under the guise of child performers, using hidden earpieces to eavesdrop on adult conversations about the ongoing Casadini asset freezes that threaten their legacy. Emma, her eyes wide with excitement yet flickering with doubt, adds tech-savvy tweaks like a drone surveillance app her mother Anna once demoed, aiming to gather proof of tampering in Valentine's trial that could exonerate him before the holidays. However, the plot thickens when Britt Westburn delivers crushing news in the sun-drenched WASB annex, pulling Emma aside with a firm grip on her shoulder. Britt explains that due to escalating risks from Sidwell's network, their joint operation is off the table, leaving Emma to navigate solo amid fears of reprisal against her family. This rejection hits Emma hard, evoking tears and a vow to prove her independence, perhaps by secretly looping in her half-brother Rocco to cover more ground. But it raises stakes for Charlotte, whose impulsive nature might lead to a reckless solo escapade involving a forged invitation that spirals into a chase through Port Charles' foggy streets. Inventing this youthful duo's arc adds layers of innocence clashing with danger, mirroring the show's theme of legacy burdens. And fans theorize it could culminate in a heart-pounding reveal that implicates higher-ups like Liesel Obrecht in the conspiracy, Josslyn's high-risk WSB assignment. Finally, in the sterile glow of the WSB's Port Charles outpost, Josslyn Jax receives her latest directive from the no-nonsense Jack Brennan, her stomach churning at the ethical tightrope she's about to walk. Dressed in tactical gear that hides her unease, Josslyn learns she must embed herself deeply into Lucas Jones' social circle, not just casual chats over coffee at Kelly's, but intimate dinners where she probes his guarded recollections of Marco Rios, the elusive operative whose disappearance ties into a web of corporate espionage targeting ELQ Industries. Brennan, his voice laced with irritation like gravel underfoot, snaps in the preview clip that this interpersonal breakthrough is precisely the intelligence chink they need to crack the case wide open, emphasizing how Lucas's hospital shifts provide perfect cover for accidental encounters laced with subtle questions about Rio's last known movements. Josslyn grapples with the deception, her mind flashing to family barbecues where lying to Trina Robinson or her mother Carly feels like a betrayal far beyond mere omissions. Yet the mission's gravity in covering a plot that could destabilize Port Charles' economy compels her forward, adding inventive depth. Perhaps Josslyn fabricates a shared interest in medical tech to bond with Lucas, only for an unforeseen complication like Wiley's sudden illness to force her hand in revealing too much too soon, risking exposure and a WSB recall. This storyline amplifies Josslyn's growth from college student to covert asset, with analysis suggesting it parallels Carly's own risky paths, potentially leading to a climactic confession that binds the Jax women in unbreakable solidarity against the shadows encroaching on their world. Next, we dive deep into the escalating tension surrounding Laura Collins as she faces off against the cunning Jen Sidwell in a battle that could upend her entire world. Laura, the resilient mayor of Port Charles, found herself blindsided by an unexpected drop-in from Sidwell earlier this week, a confrontation that not only tested her resolve, but also ignited a firestorm of doubts about the shadowy tactics this ruthless businessman might unleash next. Sidwell's eyes gleamed with unyielding ambition as he laid out his scheme, making it crystal clear that his ultimate prize is the sprawling waterfront piers owned by the formidable Sonny Corinthos. Properties that represent not just real estate, but a vital artery of power in the city's underbelly. These docks, buzzing with secretive shipments and guarded by Sonny's loyal enforcers, have long been a cornerstone of his empire, and Sidwell's fixation on them hints at a larger plot to dismantle Sonny's influence from the ground up, perhaps weaving in underground alliances or forged documents to claim what isn't his. As Laura stood her ground in her modest, yet authoritative office, surrounded by stacks of city blueprints and flickering computer screens displaying harbor maps, she firmly rebuffed Sidwell's overtures, declaring that neither her integrity nor her position could be compromised for his gain. Yet, beneath her composed exterior, a chill ran through her as memories of Sidwell's past machinations resurfaced, particularly the way he had entangled her son Lucky Spencer in a web of deceit and danger during a high-stakes investigation years ago. Lucky, the adventurous detective with his trademark tousled hair and unshakable moral compass, had barely escaped Sidwell's clutches then, emerging scarred but wiser. And now Laura couldn't shake the fear that refusing this deal might drag her family back into that nightmare, with Sidwell's grudge festering like an untreated wound. Inventing new layers to this feud, imagine Sidwell pulling strings from hidden boardrooms, hiring shadowy investigators to dig into Lucky's current undercover ops in Europe, threatening to expose him unless Laura bends, turning what was once a personal vendetta into a global chase that keeps her awake at night. Sidwell's departure from Laura's office on that fateful Monday was anything but graceful. He paused at the threshold, his polished shoes clicking against the hardwood floor, and delivered a parting shot that hung in the air like a storm cloud. I hold your principles in the highest regard. Mayor Collins, your office isn't up for grabs in a cash deal. But remember, deals come in all shapes, not just dollars. Deep down, everyone has a vulnerability, including a woman as strong as you. This veiled warning sent Laura reeling, her mind racing through scenarios where Sidwell might exploit non-financial levers, such as leveraging political scandals from her past mayoral campaigns or infiltrating her social circle with planted rumors that could erode public trust overnight. By adding inventive depth, picture Laura pacing her office afterward, phone in hand, dialing trusted allies like her ex-husband Scott Baldwin for advice, only to hear echoes of similar threats from Port Charles' history of corrupt power plays, amplifying her isolation in this high-stakes game. Fast forward to Tuesday, and Sidwell's predatory instincts sharpened as he accidentally crossed paths with Rocco Falconeri on the bustling streets near the docks. The young man carrying a toolbox from his latest mechanic gig, his easy smile masking the weight of family loyalties. With his boyish charm and ties to the Falconeri clan, Danny's steadfast brother and a budding confidant, too many in town quickly caught Sidwell's attention when the schemer probed about his past fling with the enigmatic Britt Westburn, now ensnared in Sidwell's manipulative grip through blackmail over her medical secrets. Britt, the brilliant but haunted doctor whose life has been a whirlwind of espionage and romance, dangles like a pawn in Sidwell's arsenal, and he could easily twist her arm to approach Rocco, fabricating emergencies or luring him into traps that indirectly hammer at Laura's nerves. Envision a new twist, Sidwell orchestrating a fake crisis where Britt calls Rocco in distress, claiming Sidwell's goons are tailing her, pulling him into a midnight stakeout that exposes him to real peril, all designed to make Laura question every shadow outside her home. Rocco isn't the sole vulnerability in Laura's fortress-like family dynamic. Her devoted husband, Kevin Collins, has been conspicuously absent from the spotlight lately, his psychiatric expertise sidelined amid whispers of personal sabbaticals and professional pivots. John Lindstrom, the charismatic actor behind Kevin, made waves with his February debut as Joey Armstrong on the gripping series Beyond the Gates, a move that fans speculate signals a temporary exit from General Hospital's canvas, leaving room for dramatic re-entry or heartbreaking farewell. Could Sidwell, sensing Kevin's absence as an open door, stage a brutal ambush perhaps, a staged car accident on a foggy Port Charles night, or an intrusion at their cozy home that forces writers to pen Kevin's short-term vanishing act, complete with cliffhangers of bloodied files and unanswered calls? Delving deeper with creative flair, imagine Sidwell hiring a rogue patient from Kevin's practice, someone with a grudge amplified by fabricated therapy notes, to launch a psychological assault that blurs the line between therapy session and terror, pushing Laura to her emotional limits as she pieces together the puzzle. Beyond Kevin, Sidwell's reach could extend to the Casadini branch of Laura's sprawling family tree, where Valentine Casadini has been carving out more narrative space with his suave manipulations and protective instincts toward his daughter Charlotte. Charlotte, the precocious teen with her father's sharp wit and a recent heart-to-heart bonding session with Rocco over schoolyard adventures, has been sparingly featured, making her an ripe target for Sidwell's divide-and-conquer strategy, perhaps by spreading rumors of a fabricated scandal involving her elite academy or luring her into a deceptive internship at one of his shell companies. Adding inventive elements, suppose Sidwell intercepts Charlotte's online chats, posing as a mentor to draw her into a web of cyber intrigue that Valentine uncovers too late, igniting a father-daughter rift that reverberates back to Laura's doorstep. And let's not overlook little Ace Casadini, the innocent toddler whose wide-eyed curiosity and family ties make him a heartbreaking leverage point. Sidwell might subtly threaten custody battles or nursery sabotage, evoking Laura's maternal fury in ways that transcend mere politics. Finally, no one in Laura's orbit is truly untouchable, not even her son Nicolas Casadini, languishing behind the cold bars of Pentonville prison after his latest tangle with the law. Fans buzz with theories that Sidwell could infiltrate the penitentiary's corrupt undercurrents, bribing guards or smuggling in agitators to deliver a brutal message straight to Nicolas, like a staged shanking or poisoned meal that symbolizes the peril awaiting anyone Laura holds dear, even in confinement. With a fresh spin, envision Sidwell visiting Nicolas under a false pretense, whispering taunts about Laura's inevitable fall while flashing photos of her loved ones, turning the prison walls into a psychological cage that amplifies Nicolas's desperation to warn his mother from afar. As these threads intertwine, Laura's fight against Sidwell evolves from a property dispute into a visceral defense of her bloodline, reminding viewers that in Port Charles, power isn't just seized, it's defended with every ounce of cunning and heart. Stay tuned for more twists as this saga unfolds, where alliances shatter and secrets erupt like fireworks over the harbor. Next, we will learn about the explosive Quartermaine family rift that's dividing loyalties and igniting fierce fan debates in Port Charles. In the latest twists of General Hospital, a wave of unwavering support has swept through the fanbase, positioning Tracy Quartermaine as the undisputed hero in this tangled web of betrayal and redemption. Social media platforms are buzzing with hashtags like Team Tracy and Justice for Quartermaine, where devoted viewers are venting their frustrations over the Quartermaine clan's misguided alliances. One viral thread on Twitter captured the sentiment perfectly, with a fan posting, "Tracy's been the backbone of this family for decades, how dare they turn on her now?" This outpouring stems directly from the shocking scam orchestrated against the iconic Quartermaine mansion, a plot that exposed deep-seated divisions and tested the bonds of blood and legacy. At the heart of the controversy is Veronica Ronnie Bard, whose initial scheming sent shockwaves through the household. Spoilers reveal that Ronnie, burdened by waves of conscience after her pivotal moment of reckoning, shredded the deceptive documents that would have handed the estate over to Drew Kane in a heartbeat. Picture the scene: Ronnie, alone in the dimly lit study, her hands trembling as she rips through the papers, tears streaming down her face. This act of reversal was a dramatic pivot, underscoring the internal turmoil that plagued her from the start. Yet, while this decision marked a turning point toward integrity, it couldn't wipe away the trail of deceit that led there, including forged signatures and whispered manipulations that nearly dismantled a family treasure. Fans speculate that Ronnie's hesitation might stem from her own hidden vulnerabilities, perhaps echoes of a troubled past involving financial desperation or unresolved grief over lost opportunities in Port Charles society. Delving deeper, the blueprint for this chaos traces back to Martin Gray, the cunning attorney whose silver-tongued persuasion drew Ronnie into the fray like a moth to a flame. Martin's proposal wasn't just a casual suggestion, it was a meticulously crafted scheme, leveraging Ronnie's ambitions and painting Tracy as an obstacle to progress. He outlined incentives that promised Ronnie a slice of power and security, but in reality, it was a high-stakes gamble that risked everything for short-term gain. Ronnie, far from the innocent bystander some might claim, embraced the role with calculated enthusiasm, attending late-night meetings and endorsing every forged detail. Her active participation highlights a character arc ripe for exploration. Could this be the catalyst for Ronnie's growth, or merely a temporary lapse in judgment amid the pressures of Quartermaine opulence? Regardless, the damage lingers, forcing viewers to question if true forgiveness can bridge such a chasm. Compounding the betrayal, Ronnie's bold confrontation with Tracy escalated tensions to a boiling point, accusing her of tampering with drinks in a bid to sabotage the deal. This explosive allegation, hurled during a heated family gathering, led to Tracy's abrupt ousting from the very mansion she fought to protect, a moment that played out with raw emotion on screen. Tracy, ever the fierce matriarch, stood her ground with biting retorts, but the humiliation stung deeply, evoking memories of past Quartermaine power struggles like the ELQ boardroom battles of yesteryear. Adding layers to this clash, insiders hint that Ronnie's paranoia might have been fueled by anonymous tips or planted evidence, turning what could have been a civil discussion into a full-blown eviction drama that left Tracy isolated and seething. As the dust settled on Ronnie's conspiracy with Martin, Tracy emerged as the unlikely target of intense family backlash for daring to challenge Monica's sister. One might expect a collective sigh of relief once the authentic will surfaced, revealing Monica's clear intentions for the property. But instead, the Quartermaines doubled down on their disdain. This persistent vilification paints Tracy as the antagonist in a story she's merely trying to safeguard, ignoring her decades of stewardship over family assets and secrets. The narrative shift feels engineered for maximum drama, with Tracy's straightforward opposition framed as cruelty rather than caution. a trope that General Hospital fans recognize from classic feuds like the Casadini-Quartermaine rivalries. The heartbreak intensified when key family members rallied behind Ronnie, abandoning Tracy in a parade of disloyalty that stunned audiences. Michael Corinthos, with his protective instincts usually reserved for his own kin, stormed out alongside Ronnie, his face a mask of righteous indignation that overlooked Tracy's valid concerns. Brooklyn Quartermaine, ever the passionate performer, echoed the exodus with fiery declarations, prioritizing Ronnie's narrative over long-standing ties. Harrison Chase, the steadfast detective, lent his moral authority to the group, while Olivia Quartermaine's maternal warmth bizarrely extended to the outsider, and Ned Quartermaine's business savvy twisted into blind allegiance. This united front, marching through the mansion's grand doors, symbolized a profound fracture. Imagine the echoing footsteps, the slammed doors, and Tracy left standing alone in the foyer, her expression a mix of defiance and sorrow. Each member's choice reflects personal stakes, Michael's perhaps tied to his evolving role in ELQ, Brooklyn's to her quest for independence. Yet none justify forsaking the woman Monica explicitly trusted with the estate. In this labyrinth of loyalties, Tracy stands tall as the one deserving unwavering devotion from her relatives, especially after enduring such orchestrated turmoil. Her ugly demeanor, as some label it sharp words, and unyielding stance was a shield against the encroaching threat, born from years of navigating treacherous family waters. Ronnie, on the other hand, dodged a bullet by avoiding courtroom battles. Legal experts in Port Charles whisper that fraud charges could have loomed large, complete with subpoenas and depositions that would expose every shady detail. Tracy's push to evict her swiftly isn't vengeance, but justice, ensuring the mansion remains a sanctuary for true heirs rather than a pawn in personal agendas. Fans online amplify this, with petitions circulating for Tracy's vindication, predicting her triumphant return as the family's moral compass. Looking ahead, General Hospital teasers suggest an inevitable thaw in relations, with Tracy extending olive branches to the very traitors who deserted her in her hour of need. Scenes preview a tense dinner reunion, where reconciliations unfold amid clinking glasses and unspoken resentments, potentially healing old wounds through heartfelt confessions. But let's be clear, the onus for amends lies squarely with the defectors. Michael's apology might involve reflecting on his impulsive judgments, while Brooklyn could offer a song of remorse to mend the rift. This forgiveness arc adds emotional depth, exploring themes of redemption that echo throughout soap history. Yet it risks undermining Tracy's strength if not handled with care. To truly pay homage to the late Monica Quartermaine, whose wisdom shaped so much of the family's legacy, Tracy must summon a measure of grace toward Ronnie's plight. Monica's bequest of fund earmarked for Ronnie's housing speaks to her compassionate core, perhaps inspired by her own battles with loss and reinvention in Port Charles. Tracy grappling with this directive could lead to poignant monologues, weighing sisterly bonds against hard truths, and ultimately fostering unity. After all, every tale in General Hospital weaves multiple threads, from hidden motives to unforeseen alliances, reminding us that beneath the drama lies the enduring pull of family. As the story evolves, viewers eagerly await how these layers unfold, promising more twists in the Quartermaine saga.